Happy Friday, everybody. So today we have what we call our supporting standards. So these are just smaller parts of the topics we've already gone over this week in preparation for our STAAR test. So one of the topics that we're going to look at today is measurement conversions. So when we're converting measurements, we are of course going to look at the back of our formula chart. But when we convert measurements, the most important part, and when we're converting, we are setting up a proportion. So the most important part is going to be our word ratio. So in a measurement conversion, you know it's a measurement conversion because it'll say, okay, I don't know, they ran this many feet, how many yards is that equal to? Okay, so you're going to write your word ratio. So in that situation, I would do feet over yards. That way I'm keeping it consistent all the way across. So let's say they tell us that 3 feet are equal to, 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. They're saying they ran 9 feet. So feet is going to stay on top. And each situation goes on its own side of the equal sign. So when they're saying that 3 feet are equal to 1 yard, that goes on the side of the proportion together. And then the other side of the proportion, we're going to have the given dimension, and we'll put X for the missing dimension. But in this case, I know 1 times 9 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 9 feet is 3 yards. Okay, so next we have similar shapes and figures. So for this lesson, we're talking about ratios of similar shapes. So on these problems, a ratio we know is a fraction. So the ratios, we're actually setting up proportions. And these are the problems where you see several proportions and it says which one can be used to determine if these are proportional. So proportional would mean that from the smaller one to the larger one, you multiply them by the same number. So let's go ahead and use our colors and see. So you want to use your colors to identify corresponding sides. So I would say this side here corresponds to this side, and then I would say this side here corresponds to this side here. So I would have 2 different ways to write my formula, or I'm sorry, my proportion. So I could either say 12 over 10, right? And notice how I'm keeping, keeping that shape together. And then the other one would be, since blue is on top, blue has to stay on top. So 6 over 5. Another option would be to do both of my blues. So I could do 12 over 6. And then if I did this shape first, I'd have to do it first again, is 10 over 5. Okay, so these are the type of problems we're going to be looking at today, where it gives you the proportion or the ratio and is saying, is this correct? All right, the next one is ratio of pi. So it's talking about the ratio of pi in terms of circumference and diameter. So since I'm talking about circumference and diameter, I'm going to be talking about the formula C equals pi d. So we know that circumference is pi times diameter. And it's saying, what is the ratio of pi? So it's saying, what is pi equal to? So if I was to rewrite this formula, and I want to get pi by itself, because I want to solve for pi, how would I do that? Right now it's pi times the diameter, right? So I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to divide by d, divide by d. So it's saying that pi is equal to the ratio of circumference divided by diameter. So that's all these problems are asking for. It's saying that we are just going to rearrange the formula for circumference and diameter. So circumference is pi times diameter. And if we wanted to solve for pi instead, then we could simply divide both sides by the diameter and have pi equals circumference divided by diameter. So it's like we're solving equations and getting x by itself. We're just using pi instead. Okay, so the last piece that we're going to work on today is surface area. So there's two types of surface area. There's lateral surface area, and lateral is the sides. So when you're asked to find the surface area, it's going to have a net, which means it's going to be flattened. And say, for example, we're talking about a triangular prism. It would have the bases sticking out on top, okay, or the bottom, or out to the side. So they're off on their own, and they would be parallel bases. But in this case, the lateral would be the middle sides. And then if it's asking for the total surface area, or if it doesn't specify and it just says surface area, right? If it just says surface area, it's going to be the lateral plus the bases. So it's going to be all of them, right? And since we're talking about surface area, we're going to be using the formulas for area. So if you have a rectangle or a square, we're going to use area is base times height. And if you have a triangle, we're going to use area is 1/2 base times height. And then you're going to add each surface together. Okay, so now that we went over notes, let's take a look at a couple problems together. So this first one says Sam serves a tennis ball at a speed of 90 miles per hour. If 6.2 miles is equivalent to 1 kilometer, what is his serve speed in kilometers per hour? Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so he's serving a tennis ball at a speed of 90 miles per hour. So 90 miles per hour. And it's saying 0.62 miles is equal to 1 kilometer. So here, since I'm talking about miles and kilometers, that tells me that I'm doing a measurement conversion. So I want to start out with my measurements. So miles and kilometers. Okay, so on the left, I always put what it gives me. So it's saying 0.62 miles is equal to or equivalent to, that means equal to 1 kilometer. So miles I'm going to keep on top, so 0.62 miles is equal to 1 kilometer, keeping kilometers on the bottom. And it says he serves at a speed of 90 miles per hour. What is it in kilometers? So 90 miles per hour. So again, miles is going to go on top. So 90 miles, and we don't know what the kilometers are, okay? So once you have a proportion, every time you have a proportion, you're going to do your cross product. So I always do the one with my variable first. So I have 0.62x equals, and I have 90 times 1. So equals 90, right? I want to get x by itself. So right now I have 0.62 times x, so I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to divide by 0.62, divide by 0.62. So I'm going to take 90 over here, divided by 0.62. I can't have a decimal on the outside, so I have to move it to make it a whole number. 1, 2 places, so I'm going to do it 1, 2 places, fill in zeros, move it up to the top. All right. I know 62 can go into 90 one time, so minus 62 Turn that into 8. 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 minus 6 is 2, so 280. So let's see. I'm going to try 4. So 62 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 6 times 4 is 24. So I have 4 goes here. 248. 8 is going to become 7. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. So now I'm at 320. So let's see, 6 goes into 30 about 5 times. So let's try 62 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 6 times 5 is 30. So 31. 3, 10. So 5. And then do 100. It goes into 101 time. So I have to keep going, right? Because it says 100th. So I keep going. 62. It's going to be a 9 and a 10, 8. Okay, so 380. So I'm going to do 62 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 6 times 6 is 36, 37. So we did 6 is 372. I'm going to subtract. So 880 is going to be a 162. Okay, so now that I went 3 places, I'm able to round to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to round to 2 decimal places. So I'm looking at the 1. Since the 1 is less than 5, I don't bump it up. So my answer is going to be x is equal to 145.16 kilometers. Okay, I know, a lot of division for one problem. All right, so let's go to the right and look at this second problem. So this second problem says that triangle PQR is similar, right? This little squiggle means is similar. Triangle TUV. Which angle is congruent, meaning which angle is equal to angle Q? So really you don't even have to draw anything. It's saying that you have 2 triangles. And it's saying one is PQR and the other one is T. So T is in the same spot as P. U is in the middle. U is in the same spot as Q. V is in the same spot as R. So what's congruent to Q? Well, the same spot is angle W, right? So this one's actually very easy. So angle W is congruent to or equal to angle Q. All right, let's take a look at the next one. It says, Will makes award boxes for math club members. The boxes are in the shape of rectangular pyramids. The base will be painted red. The lateral faces are painted blue. What is the total area of the area that's painted blue? So painted blue, the lateral faces are painted blue. Okay, so if it's a pyramid, the base, right, is going to be the rectangle. So we're not looking at the rectangle. It says we're looking at our triangles. So are all of our triangles the same size? No. So we're going to need one formula for these two, right? So area equals 1/2 BH. And then 1 for these two. So area equals 1/2 BH. So my base, 1/2, 12, and 10. And then I have 1/2, 8, and 10.9.